Did my famous mistake. I didn't do a sound check. I had the mic turned off. Full kit, verify full kit. Always fucking verify full kit. Do not start tasks before you verify full kit. There's a reason why the music industry, the recording industry, does sound checks. And I've found a couple of reasons. I found out that reason why a few times. I've made a mistake. Right, probably thinking, what's this harebrained scheme Bendy's got here? This won't work on a real site. We've already got a meeting for this. We already do this. We do Scrum. I've seen theory of constraint. We haven't saw it like this. So let's crack into it. This is going to be, yesterday I wrapped up day 90 of 90 in ORCA series. I'm not going to stop doing ORCA. I am going to continue to do that. That's now sat as a habit. And in fact, if I was turning a site around, that would be the first habit. Let me get rid of this question and get the question up for today. That I would embed on your site, because it's such a powerful process. If you want to go back and see what happened for me over the previous 90 days, it's all there. It's all recorded. There's GPT stuff that I did yesterday that you can have a look at. I will continue to do. Going to build out a new GPT to be able to step anyone through this process. Doesn't mean you're going to be able to do what I do, where I turn them around in 90 days or less, make a culture shift in that time. But you'll certainly be able to run this process for yourself. Accusation audit done. All right, so what we're going to do is run through this with my GPT as a wingman at the minute. So this is all going to, this is based off the book Team of Teams, and it's called an operations and intelligence brief. Need to stop it being about me just getting on here and speaking, and I want to start speaking to people on real projects with real problems, with real teams that are ready to do something to fix it. I'm not going to do anything with what I say when you come on or what you learn from these videos. Start watching. Better thing you could be doing. Football season starts pretty soon. Seeing a few teams running around. You're better off spending your time doing that. Or a Sunday. Go to your local pub, go to a Sunday session. If you're not going to do anything with this stuff, don't bother watching. It's not for you. If you are, on the other hand, looking to change things, what we're going to do is run you through exactly how this session is going to run every Sunday and where you could fit into it. All right, let me just, before we get too carried away, I'm going to pull up my Trello board on here. You can see it on my phone, which it's going to drop off. So I spoke to my GPT before, and he gave me a outline for this particular session. And I'm going, and you give me too much information. I like it simple, right? It's got to be real simple, step by step. What do I need to do now? And then what do I need to do next? So what I said to him was, how about this? I'm going to go live and I'm going to ask you the questions on each one of the bullet points that you gave me. What was it? What was this? What was that? And then you're going to give me the answers, but you keep them short and brief. I don't want fucking war and peace. We're going to do this as you're going to be the wingman that helps me explain and helps me keep this brief on track. How's that sound? As you can see, some of the voice prompt commands that I give this thing aren't even that great, but it gets enough context and we work it out in the end. That sounds perfect. That's exactly how wingman should be used. Live, short, tactical. No essays, no theories, no drift. You drive, I tighten. What we're going to do here is what the All Blacks call is practice under pressure. I don't know about you, I don't know about the sites that you've been on, but you get shit thrown at you all day and you got to deal with it all day, every day. So why should I have hours and hours and hours to prep for this and try to make it perfect when we should be looking at how's this work in the real world? What does that look like? You ask, what's the constraint question here? I answer 1 to 2 sharp sentences. You ask, what's the leverage move? Then I give you 1 move, not 3. You ask, what breaks first under pressure? I'll give you 1 failure mechanism. You ask, is this thinking problem or authority problem? I answer directly. Okay. This does 3 powerful things for you. It keeps you fast, keeps it dynamic, not scripted. Exactly what we want. And shows you how you think in real time. It also reinforces the who positioning without saying it, because now they're watching you diagnose live, pressure test live, think structurally live. That's far stronger than reading prepared lines. Ground rules so this doesn't turn into War and Peace. I answer in max 3 sentences. If I drift off, you cut me off. You control the tempo, you choose when to go deeper. You're the operator on the constraint clarifier. This is a strong move. When you're ready, we run it exactly like that. Okay. All right, so call that up. What was the first part of the session? Section 1, why O and I exist. I've framed a little bit. You give us the succinct summary of it. See what he comes up with. O and I exist because effort isn't the problem. Coherence is. Cadence. Projects don't fail for lack of activity. They fail when signal collapses under coordination load and no one is stabilising decisions in real time. That sounds like a little bit to me like AI slop. You need to speak in my voice. How would I say that if I was on site? Someone said to me, what is an O and I? What would Bernie say? This is how you train it to speak in your voice. Here's how you would say it on site. O and I exists because everyone's flat out and no one's actually lining the bloody thing up. We don't have an effort problem, we have a signal problem. Signal versus noise. Remember we spoke to that the other day? Activity is noise. 90% non-value added activity. Progress is signal. That's that 10% value added activity that we got there. Judge me by my signals, data, not noise. Noise is opinions. We don't have an effort problem, we've got a signal problem. Too many conversations, not enough clarity about what actually moves the job tomorrow. That's why it exists. Short, sharp, sight language. I like it. So now you know why O and I exists, why we're going to do this every week. Wood on the side. Context. What triggered this session? What the hell is wood on the side? Context. What triggered this session? There. Wood on the side is your phrase, not mine. I've never said wood on the side. Context. What sparked today's session? On site, you'd frame it like this. Right, well, here's why we're even talking about this. This week I've seen 3 jobs where everyone's busy, but no one can tell me where the actual constraint is. It's fair. That's wood on the side. It's the trigger, the pattern you've noticed, the frustration you've seen, the thing that made you say, right, we're doing this session. It's not theory. This is what I'm seeing out there and it's not good. Radical candor. So in Trello, rename it to trigger why today. Cleaner, less confusing. Do that right now. Why wood on the side? Why today? Trigger. Why today? So that. Cleaner, less confusing. You don't want internal slang confusing the structure. Yeah, I don't know what would we call it? Wood on the side came from. That must have been a transcription error. Okay, around the grounds, rapid scan. What's breaking where? What are we doing during this session? If you ever watch footy, you know about round the grounds, right? Half time, we'll go around the grounds and see what the score is everywhere else. Good, around the grounds is not teaching, it's a live scan. Here's what you're doing in that segment. You're taking the temperature of the room. You're asking, where is it messy right now? Where are decisions stalling? Where are you seeing rework pop up again? Where are people busy but nothing's moving? You're not solving yet, you're mapping noise. Think of it like walking around the site before you touch anything. Quick, sharp, no deep dive. You're identifying 1 or 2 live pressure points, 1 repeated pattern, 1 area that smells like constraint. That's it. Round the grounds, right? What's actually breaking out there this week? Then you pick up one and go deeper. Keeps it real, keeps it current, stops becoming a lecture. You're not presenting, you're scanning. So I was thinking, my thinking behind round the grounds was like at the football. When you're watching the football on the weekend, and at half time ago we're going to go around the grounds and see what's the score on all the other games going on. So I was thinking that we'd bring people in during these sessions. A good time for bring someone in during these sessions. What questions? You said we need to keep this short, sharp and succinct when we bring people in, so it just doesn't drift into story time, or what I call adults version of show and tell. What questions should we be asking during this session to get the most value out of it for everyone? Good, this is where O and I either becomes elite or it turns into adult show and tell. Stop benching more fucking ideas. You're right to control this tightly. Around the grounds work brilliantly if it feels like live scoreboard, no therapy, no storytelling. When you bring someone in, you need a diagnostic question, not narrative prompts. Here's the structure. Around the grounds, guest interrogation framework. You're not asking them to explain their job, you're asking them to expose signal. Keep it 3 to 5 minutes max per person. Open with this, cut story immediately. Where's your job bleeding right now? Not how's things going? Not tell us about your project. Bleeding forces specificity. Constraint question. What's the one thing that's slowing everything else down? If I list 3 things, cut them off. Pick one. All right, that's probably where we can drift question. Where are decisions getting fuzzy or delayed? I've got an idea for this that we're going to run in a second. If nothing changes in the next 30 days, what gets worse first? Now you've moved from complaint to consequence. This is powerful. Leverage move. If you could change one behaviour tomorrow, what would it be? Not a plan, not a program, one behaviour. That's it. What you do not ask. Tell us about your journey. What's working well? What lessons have you learned? How'd you make you feel? That podcast energy. You don't want diagnostic energy. Time discipline. 30 seconds max per answer. If they ramble, interrupt politely. Summarise back to 1 sentence. Example. So your constraint is approvals drifting across 3 layers. Good, that's the bleed. Move on. Why this works. Keeps pace high, avoids ego storytelling, surfaces real patterns, creates live tension, demonstrates how you think, reinforces your who positioning without ever saying it. If you want, no, we're not going into all of that right now. What I'm thinking is, what would be a good thing? You and I'll do a summary of this at the end afterwards when we're done. This is the perfect time to, would it not be, to introduce Goldrat's 5 focusing steps. We bring them in and find where their real constraint is. They tell us what they think the constraint is, and then we use the 5 focusing steps. So they need to summarise it in a sentence, what I think the constraint is, and then we use the 5 focusing steps to really identify the real constraint. Now you're thinking properly. He says this to me all the time, like I'm fucking stupid or something. This is exactly where the 5 focusing step belongs. And I was lecture as a live diagnostic scalpel. But here's the key, you don't teach the 5 steps, you run them in real time. That's what I said. Well, this is smart. Round the grounds, noise collection. 5 focusing steps, signal refinement. That turns your session into live constraint surgery, not discussions. And it reinforces system thinking, Goldrat alignment, structural credibility, your who positioning without saying it. How should it work? Guest gives 1 sentence. My constraint is procurement delays. Your response is good. Let's test that. Then you move through the steps fast. The live flow, identity. Is that truly the constraint or just the loudest pain? Force clarity. If procurement is the constraint, are we getting maximum throughput out of it right now? Most people aren't. Subordinate. Are the rest of the teams aligned around protecting procurement's flow? Elevate. If we fix the procurement tomorrow, what actually changes? If nothing changes, it wasn't the constraint. Repeat. So what's the real constraint? This is where it gets interesting. The critical rule. They must summarise their constraint in 1 sentence. No paragraphs, no backstory, 1 sentence. If they could do that, they don't. If they can't do that, they don't understand it. Why this won't drift? Because it's structured. It's diagnostic, not conversational. You're running a logic process, not hosting a chat. It's not about people get on there and story time. So it's not the adults version of show and tell. Does this dilute your snowy who positioning? No, it strengthens it because you're not opinion guy. You're live constraint operator using first principles. That's serious energy. Only warning, keep it fast. If you go slow and explanatory, it turns into a seminar. If you go sharp and controlled, it feels like the control room. All right, so we have to put some boundaries around time for this as well. This is exactly where gold rope begins. Run it tight if you want. I'll give the exact 20-second transition line to 5 focusing steps. We're told you no, we're not doing that. Okay. Live constraint focus. Choose one real issue to dissect. How are we choosing that? This is where most people screw it up. You don't choose the loudest problem, you choose the most emotional problem. You don't choose the biggest looking problem, you choose the constraint candidate. Here's the clean section selection rule for live. Collect 3 to 4 issues rapid fire, round the grounds, get quick inputs, procurement delays, design changes, too many approvals, crews waiting on access. No discussion yet, just listen. Ask one brutal question. If we fixed only one of these this week, which one would increase flow elsewhere, everywhere else? That's the filter. Not which is annoying, which is political, which is visible. Which increases flow across the system? Apply the throughput test. Does this issue directly limit output, or does it just create frustration? If it's fixing it doesn't increase throughput, dude, it's not the constraint. Check for system impact. Yeah, you're really not picking up what I'm putting down here. I don't need a description of how to do it. Where are we deciding the constraints coming from? Are we running a poll through the week? Is this coming out of the session before it, around the grounds? Where does the constraint that we focus on, how do we select that constraint to speak to and create maximum engagement? Got it. You're not asking how to diagnose a constraint. You're asking where's the constraint candidate come from so engagement is highest. Good. Here are your real options. Pre-seed during the week. Highest engagement. Run a poll or prompt earlier in the week. So we'll do that on a Wednesday. That's what we'll do. Whereas execution bleeding. Option 2. Selected from around the grounds live energy. You gather 3 to 4 live issues. We could do that as well. Pre-declared theme. Weakest for engagement. You decide before the week. We'll do that if we don't have anyone else have any input. What creates maximum engagement? A hybrid of 1 and 2. Yeah, that's what I figured too. Midweek poll. So Wednesday's supposed to be a engaged day anyway. Spark conversation, ask a question, run a poll, or drop a bold take that gets them talking. So we'll run it off a Wednesday. So we'll use Wednesday for that then, which is our engaged day. Spark conversation, add a question, run a poll, or drop a bold take. That will be how we'll get that. All right, interview operator spotlight, pressure test their environment. Have we not already done this, or were you thinking something else? What's this look like? Who's the operator spotlight? How are we finding them? And what are we speaking to? Because to me, we've already done that during around the grounds and live constraint focus. If you're already around the grounds, then you do not need to separate operator spotlight segment every time. This will be duplicate energy. Let's clean this up. Should actually be unlift the constraint. No, we're just going to get rid of that. That's gone. I've deleted it. It's not necessary. Let's move on. Red team moment. What were you thinking here? This is where R&I starts being interesting, becomes serious. It's not debate, it's not negativity, it's structural stress testing. Here's what the red team moment actually is. You just identified the constraint, you work through the focusing, now you ask, all right, what kills this? That's the segment. What you're doing in red team is you're forcing the room to answer. Where would this fail? How it sounds live. Right before. This starting to sound a lot like me to where the ORCA should sit. That was terrible transcription. Should this be ORCA? No, don't replace red team with ORCA, but you can structure the red team moment. You can run a tight red team using... Oh. All right, give me the logistics of the red team then. How are we going to do this? We're going to pull this off. This is like under an hour session. And now we're trying to pull a red team together. So is this like a red team wingman? How are we to make a decision on what goes in there, on what they're going to red team on? What are we doing here? We're demonstrating an AI wingman. What's this about? Do not build a separate red team. You do not assemble a panel. You do not slow the session down. I know this is not demonstrating an AI wingman. This will delight the room immediately. Here's what red team actually is in a 60-minute session. Red team is a 5-minute structured pressure test of whatever leverage move came out of it. All right, I'm going to pull you up right now. This is just AI slop. Red team is a 5-minute structured pressure test of whatever leverage move came out of the constraint work. My God. You're probably probably using you for the wrong thing here. But anyway, 2 sentences you're supposed to give me, 2 to 3. You've gone way off track. I'm pulling you up. You told me to pull you up if you started going off on give me War and Peace, and you give me War and Peace. 2 to 3 sentences, what red team is. Pull it back. ORCA. Something's not working, stop and fix it. Objective. The objective was to get through this here and explain to you how the session was going to run. Results are he's gone off on a fucking tangent, choose his own adventure, doing all sorts of shit that we shouldn't be looking at doing, which we all do every day. It drives us waste. Okay? What caused that? Probably my bad prompts, not having a clear enough picture on what I wanted to achieve, or not probably my bad prompts, not having a clear picture of what I actually wanted to achieve. Actions. Pull him up, stop him, cut your bullshit. Let's get back on track, get 2 to 3 sentences, get this right. Good pull. Red team is a 5-minute stress test of the leverage move you just agreed on. If you ask, we tried this on Monday, what breaks first? Right, now it makes sense. It's there to kill weak thinking before sight reality does. Okay, so I will use, he told me it's not an AI wingman, but it will be. So we'll take, if we go our live constraint focus and go, we're going to do this week, then we'll feed it to the red team and go, if we did this, this is the context around it. If we did this, what can you see going wrong? That's how that will work. Can't let this thing do all of the thinking. It's there as your thought partner to bounce your ideas backwards and forwards from, but you're still in control of this. You still need to build the muscle and have the knowledge so that you're the who up here that's pulling this, that's heading this in the right direction all the time. Skeptic injection. Skeptic injection, this one should be pretty simple, hey? 2 to 3 lines, please. For lockout thing in, I deliberately invite pushback. Who thinks this won't work and why? Is there to surface blind spots before they turn into expensive mistakes? Yep, that's cool. So we'll just bring people in, because I can do this easy with Ecamm Live, because all I do is I make myself a little link here, click it, and then I WhatsApp it to them. You want to come on? I'll have WhatsApp running at the same time, because I can't actually get the comments back from that little QR code up there is my WhatsApp. I can't actually get the comments back off LinkedIn. It won't allow you for, what do you call it, purposes. Privacy reasons. It won't let you do that. But, like a WhatsApp, hey Benny, I'm in. Show me the link. I'm going to jump on here and I've got something to say and I'll come into sitting that screen right there. So they'll sit right there. A skeptic or a critic or whatever they want to be. Right, let's get this rattled off. Leverage move. Authority density filter. Who actually needs to act on this? What's that about? is the moment you stop talking theory and ask who in the room can actually change this on Monday. It separates observers from decision makers. If no one with authority is present, it's just conversation, not execution. Fair enough. Next session, focus, carry forward the constraint, hard close, no drift, this compounds. Right, this needs work, obviously. So, I'm going to tick that, tick that, tick that, tick that. We've done around the grounds. We've completed that card. All right. So, we're at the start of an operations and intelligence brief. You want to come on, speak to your site, DM me. Hit me either by WhatsApp, that little QR code there, or you can DM me directly on LinkedIn. Got something that you don't want to speak to, or it's sensitive information or whatever, we can arrange another way to do it. This is all about getting you guys on here, showing how to run this stuff live. It's all well and good me speaking to it, or rather, practice under pressure, which is our next goal. As I know I've got day 1 of 90, so the next goal is actually 100 hours of deliberate practice, which we'll be tracking on this. How much have we got here today? We've got 26 minutes, so we'll get to it. On this sheet right here, where? Okay. Got tracked here in 15-minute blocks. Deliberate practice, doing my 3 key things that I do extremely well that put me in the highest probability and the fastest way of changing your culture on your site. Planning and prioritising your day, doing social media with extreme competence, and establishing values, culture, and maintaining it, which is exactly what we're doing with these sessions. So we will get 2 sessions in today because we've done 2 15-minute blocks. We're almost at half an hour. Anyway, take it, use it, make it a great week. If you want a copy of that tracking sheet, reach out. I'll send you it so you can go and get it yourself. Marking up progress like that too, by the way, is vitally important. Hey, I forgot. We didn't run out. I went ORCA. But doing ORCA. ORCA wingman. Well, I forgot to run our ORCA process. That needs to go in on that as well. There's plenty of room for improvement in that show. Today it was just a kick-off. And part of the reason why we do this live is for you to see that it's not going to be perfect when you start. Start's going to be a bit of a shit show till you hit a bit of a rhythm. Start to get locked in. Okay, that's good. All that planning that we did, we're going to park that for now because what I need to do is do the first. So it's day 1 of 90. We're on to our second phase. It's 22nd of February 2026, and this is a new shift. See if he still runs the ORCA process properly. Change colour pens too so I can see where I've swapped, where 190-day block's finished and where the next one starts. Before we plan anything else, we anchor this properly. You just finished 9 days straight, that matters. But today is not a continuation, it's a reset. Day 1 of 90, phase 2, we do this clean. Objective 1 only. What is today's single objective? What 10 things? Today's single objective was to run a live about the due Sunday sessions that we're going to run, which are called the Construction School O I Operations and Intelligence session. Good, that's clean. So correct the frame. Day 190. Objective, run live, introducing the Construction School O I sessions. Result, did the run? Yes, the live is in progress at the moment. what ensured that it happened? What ensured that it happened is I've done 90 repetitions for it, so it is just second nature for me now. Here's my wingmans. It's just automatic. The identities now set. Actions. You have drifted terribly here. You're not running the process at all anymore. It's time for you to be retired, but this will do. We're still running an ORCA. Actions out of this one is I need to dump out your 90-day plan. I need to create another wingman for running the next 9 days of ORCA, something you'll probably help me with as well. And that's something that we'll start doing tomorrow on Manic Monday in our transition. Today was a sort of almost a day off, but I didn't have a day off because I didn't want to stop the streak. Once you've got 90 under your belt, you don't want to stop. If execution drift is showing up on your project right there, type drift in the chat. Oh, now he's going to go back and do it again. Oh man, I don't want you to correct. I just needed to run the ORCA process. I've done that. I've done the 3 tasks I needed to set for today. If today was a weekday, you don't need to worry about tomorrow because I'm going to cut you off. We're going to start a new ORCA wingman tomorrow. I did verify a full kit. We don't do targeted outreach today. It's a Sunday. You're just all over the place. I've taken you too far off track with doing the, what do we do? With the audit process that we did on our last 90 days. So this is it for you, old mate. You're done. As for doing ORCAs, your job moving forward now will be to help me get out the data that we had around the audit that we did, and then help me build a prompt to build the next ORCA wingman. Not right now, not today, but that's what we'll do next. Ran the ORCA, hit the 3 tasks. It's Sunday, no outreach. Now structurally this wingman has reached end of mission. It helped you lock 90 days, introduce red team thinking, elevate target architecture. But you're right, starting to drift, starting over planning. If it stops stepping through the process cleanly, it gets retired. That's discipline. Moving forward, this instance is no longer your daily ORCA operator. Nothing else. Today's closed. Day 1 of 90 complete. All right, take it, use it. Make it a great week. We'll be back tomorrow. We're in a little bit of a reset phase at the minute. This is another cadence I'm just about to introduce you to. This is something that a mob called Basecamp do. They're software developers. So they run in 6-week sprints. They run sprint hard for 6 weeks. Then for 2 weeks, they put a buffer in. That's to clean up any of the work that didn't get done that should have got done in that 6 weeks. Then I put something significant in for the next 6 weeks. We're in that buffer phase at the moment. I didn't do this particularly well, didn't pencil it in because the 90 days actually ran out yesterday, which was halfway through this buffer phase. So we're not going to try and introduce too much this week. This week I'm just going to clean up and get back on track and reset for the next 90 days, even though it's on day 1 of 90. That's counting streak. This is counting actual, what do you call it? This is actual milestone tracking. So over this next week, we're going to get completely reset. We're going to build a new ORCA wingman, and we're going to rebuild this O I session. However, and we're going to introduce something else called free days, because one of the posts this week will be, you can't go ham in a paint forever and not pay the price for it somewhere along the line. So we're going to start introducing some days where we decide that we're not going to run this. All right, that'll all come out in the wash this week, but Take it, use it, make it a great week. I will speak soon. I'll do a quick recap on what you need to do to know to be able to work out your PM's capacity. Number one, you need to switch their thinking and know whether he is a task focus, cost focus. So at best, you're getting about 10% value added activity out of him, or whether you're getting someone who's up at this level up here, where you're getting 20% or more value added activity out of him. You need to know how much his context switching. You'd allow a buffer in there, that 20% buffer out of his week. Then how much is he context switching? Work out how much he's losing to that. You need to understand what level of shit show that you're running. How much more stress are you adding on top of the constant context switching that he has to deal with? You need to know when can he plan this into his week. You want a copy of that sheet that I threw up before? I'll give you that so that you can actually go and structure it hour by hour, day by day. You need to factor in, have we got this process in place yet? Or when can we get this process in place so that we can start moving this 10% higher, up 20%, 30%, whatever it may be.